I'll call the city council meeting to order. It's 5:30. Roll call, please.
Slusher?
Yes.
Fetch?
Yes.
Feltes?
Yep.
Wojni?
Yes.
Mazak?
Yes.
Olson?
Yes.
We have a quorum. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Verification of posting.
Advertising posted at City Hall, State Bank, Arcadia, TV and playing from the city website on Friday.
We have a 16-item agenda. I entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
By Feltus, second by Fetch. Questions? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Wojni?
Yes.
Mazak?
Yes.
Olson?
Yes.
Slusher?
Yes.
Yes.
Fetch and Feltes?
Yep.
Motion carries. Public comment?
Yes. I'd like to know what they're going to do with the bank over by our house on McKinley Street with the rock that's facing down. Something's gotta be done.
Bill, if you can give a brief, it's not on the agenda, but if you wanna just address that.
So are you talking about right where King Street is?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right
we're
where-
looking at a retaining wall there. We don't know to what extent or how big the retaining wall is there, but we're looking at some form of retaining wall with some form of landscaping so that we don't have to mow it from time to time.
Because I seen Tater one day, he come up the hill and he had his cutter going this way, and then he went in the driveway and he had it this way, and he went down the hill. And I go, oh my God.
Yeah, it's a problem spot, and so we're trying to resolve that, right? We're just trying to make sure that whatever solution we get there, that it's feasible.
And then another lady came in by Louise, and she had 2 little kids in her car, and I didn't know that until after she got out of the car and went to Louise's, and she almost backed off 3 times.
Wow. Okay.
Is it that close to the road or to her back, or for her driveway?
Doris, as soon as we decide on something as far as that wall, I can have Bill send something over to you.
Okay,
Keep
thank
you in the
you.
loop. That work?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
Yes, I have 2 things. I would like them both in closed session, something that was brought, a comment that was made at this table, and then I have something personal that I want to bring up in closed session.
Anything else?
Ambulance update.
All right, you can.
It's gonna
Go
be
ahead.
south of, that, what's it called, Privia, the clinic up there?
Trivia.
Privia, okay. What I know on it, it's
The
gonna
shelter or the garage?
have, yep, and it's gonna have 4 bedrooms in there,
Okay.
three bays.
Okay.
The garage is gonna be 36 by 60, the living quarters is 56 by 54. Walters is doing the drawings, hopefully done before the end of the year. Plans are to build next spring. There is room up there for a helicopter to land, but no plans of a landing pad yet.
Okay.
And Cletus needs to know from
Right.
Bill what kind of permits they need, so if you can ever get a hold of Cletus. That's what I got on that.
They didn't say what the city's portion or cost is?
No.
Okay.
No. They're looking for donations though.
Do they, I'm sorry, I was talking here, did they say when they were going to get started? or-
Next spring.
Next spring,
of
okay.
18.
But the drawings are gonna be done this fall, or?
Yep, they're already doing it.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yep.
Just out of curiosity, I'd like to know if there was, we heard anything going on at Violet Sanson Park, or if that's been pretty quiet lately, or,
We sent out letters to the neighborhood there.
but we haven't heard anything, I mean, as far as bad news going on, that's, no news is good
A
news.
tree was taken down.
Yeah, we had a tree taken down, but no building
Being taken down,
um,
like vandalized?
vandalized, I would call it.
Okay.
Oh, a tree, oh. Good. Big fallen tree, huh?
All right.
Comment, a while back, I mentioned something about frisbee golf in the park. Are we hopefully going to pursue that? I know we've got all these other things going on, but, you know,
You
we
sure
got.
can. I mean, part of it's gonna be funding, how to get this, the equipment.
Yeah, right, and then also the designer, I mean, I've got a person who can do that, and he can actually work with the equipment too, get a price on that, so I know, how to do that, but, all we gotta do is just, say, hey, we're gonna do something, do we want to, and, go ahead and let's get some information and then do it, cause, we need more stuff than just, I know flood control is a big thing and some of these other things, but we gotta have some fun too.
I know, Doc, but
I know it costs money.
everything costs money, and right
Everything
now,
costs money. Everything costs money.
money is, kinda hard to come by.
Well, that's what it's for.
Any other public comment? Public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on. We have presentations tonight. Old business approval of meeting minutes from August 7th, 2017.
So second.
Motion by Slusher, second by Fetch. Any questions or changes? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Mason,
Yes.
Holsted. Yes. Slusher.
Yes.
Fetch.
Yes.
Feltes.
Yep.
Wojni.
Abstain.
Motion carries. Item 4B, authorization to sign Connect Communities Agreement.
So moved.
Motion by Mazak, second by, was that you, Joe?
Yep.
By Feltus. This is something that we discussed last time, was budgeted in the Economic Development Committee. Any other questions? Arose after last meeting? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Holsted.
Yes.
Slusher.
Yes.
Fetch.
Yes.
Feltes.
Yep.
Wojni.
Yes.
Mazak.
Yes.
Motion carries. Board and commission updates. None this evening.
We've got fire board meeting this week and I'll get something to you, hopefully.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Bob. Department updates, none. Public hearings, none. 8A recycling committee update discussion with commingled recycling in Arcadia. Jan,
So I'd like to,
you just want to introduce yourself and your guests?
yes, Jan, chair of the committee. This is Candace Lobby and her mom, Sarah, and Marlis. We're the 4 people on our committee. Adam is on composting and recycling. What we would like to do is propose to you, or recommend to you, that we would really do the recycling and waste management curbside as well as in the parks. I talked with Hilltoppers, Gary Hugum, and he said that the containers cost approximately $59 a piece for a waste container and a recycling container. When we trialed 5 plastic barrels in the park this summer, we aimed to do just plastic, but there needs to be a place where people can recycle commingled things. So you have glass, you have aluminum cans, and people don't have a place to put it. And along with all the waste barrels, if you could have a matching recycle barrel, it would make much greater sense. So that's what we're hoping, and we're proposing, I don't know if all of you got the email, I know Joe didn't, and Angela's working on that.
She just handed them out.
Okay. So what we're looking for is a container with a lid, so people actually have to lift the lid, and in that way they can see what should go in it, because it will be labeled with recyclables or waste, and that they would be emptied by a recycling truck or a waste management truck.
Would there be a picture on there? You said it was gonna be labeled,
Yes,
but there would be a picture too. Some people need pictures.
that's what we're talking about in terms of glass, aluminum, so
Right.
those descriptors.
Okay.
The signage, so the owners of the barrels, especially in the parks, or the containers, would be owned by the city. The name of the sponsoring person or organization would be on a 10x10 label, and I had contacted Edge Graphics. They did the ones for the recycling of the plastic barrels in the park, and they are good for at least 5 to 7 years, you know, so they won't fade, or the longer they're on the barrel or the container, the more difficult it is to peel off. So it has some longevity to it. And then at the top, where people actually lift the label, that would be where the pictures would be, indicating to individuals what goes in the barrel. Sponsorship, we're proposing that the barrels would be sponsored by individuals or organizations or the city. Don't quote me. The donations would be made payable to the city of Arcadia in the memo line. So our committee would not handle any of the money, but that it would go directly to the city or to the committee, and the city, or the committee would forward the check or whatever it is to the city. Recycling Champions would provide the forms for the sponsorship. They have not been designed yet, not knowing if it's a go. And/or Supreme Graphics would bid the contract for the 70 sponsorship labels, plus the 35 recycling photos and the 35 waste labels. So, associated costs, the cost of the sponsorship would be approximately $200 per container. So that's definitely in excess of the $15 for the container, but we factored in the labeling and also maintenance for a little bit. I don't know what the long-term cost of the service would be, but at least it would get us started. And then our further ask is that we would have curbside pickup for recycling, and that it would be commingled. And I know Bill and I have been in conversation about the possibility, if Hilltoppers is not willing, that we would seek another company.
Their contract, Jan, is up at the end of this year, so that's something that's gonna go on.
I know
Any
that
requests?
Hermie at Hilltoppers is so accommodating and willing to do anything and everything, but it comes with a price. So Kena has a few items that she would like to share with the group too. She is our youngest member, and I am almost the oldest.
Almost, I like that. Almost.
At our school, I've been noticing that they do teach us about recycling only on Earth Day. That's only like 2 or 3 days out of the year. And it would help if they teach us more than just that, and to take it into teaching us more. We could put recycling bins in the classrooms and have a garbage and a recycling bin in the lunchroom. So that would help us learn more.
Excellent suggestions.
Yeah.
Anything else? You've got lots of things in your paper.
Well, it'll just help us get into a better habit if you have those things around the school. And so we'll get more into it's around our environment, so we should use them. Thank you.
Do you guys have paper pickup at the school now, recycling? Like paper, but not for like plastic and
Yeah, we have
cans and,
paper and garbage in every
Pa-
classroom.
but not for like plastic bottles and stuff like that.
And aluminum or that type of thing.
Mayor, I had a question for Raleigh when he comes back.
Question
Do
for
they-
the young lady,
Go ahead.
oh, we're
Go ahead,
still on
Doc.
this, right?
Was that for me?
Yeah, yes, for you, young lady. About, does the school provide containers on the outside, you know, when you come into your buildings, are there containers there? Because many times when you come off a bus, you have stuff in your hands, and if you have something maybe perhaps right there, that would be a suggestion too, as well as in your room.
Yeah. They only have garbage, they don't have recyclable.
Right, so if you had recyclable places there also, I think that'd be a good idea.
How about on the bus?
There's not recyclable, but it's just garbage.
I don't think you're supposed to eat and drink in the bus,
Public.
right?
What's that?
I don't think you're supposed to eat or drink on the school buses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? You're not supposed to, huh?
No,
No energy bars, no
I'm just,
Yeah, there's not supposed to be any food or drinks, even
Mix
though
'em
lots
up.
of people do it anyway.
Bob, you had a question?
Mr. Conrad, is the milk cartons, is that recyclable or not? With the plastic around it? Go.
It is recyclable, but not in our area. There's a company out in Nebraska where you can send the prepackaged recyclable cartons that, like soy milk or, milk cartons.
Because I'm just thinking, that's a big accumulation of product at a school. Even if we have to get some crushers, and even you know.
You're talking a little cardboard one?
A little, like, a little chocolate milk or white milk at lunch.
Why can't they use that cardboard, right?
Yeah, it's cardboard.
Because it's got
Cardboard
plastic.
with wax.
It's
Rubber.
It's wax.
Wax.
It's waxed on it.
Yeah.
It is in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
So-
something we should look into too, where we can get them to, and then we can start putting something up, because that's a lot of kids.
That's
Yeah.
Would make good BTUs for the burner,
Oh, my gosh.
makes energy.
They
Well,
burn
and that's
great.
what Hilltoppers responded, they do what is taken as trash. Most of that does get burned, but again,
It goes out.
So it's a perfect time to bring it up, because obviously we're in the midst of the budget cycle, so, this is perfect timing. We also have an upcoming contract due with Hilltopper, so that's something that Bill and I have talked to, and obviously he shared the same sentiments as you, Jan, about curbside pickup, but I think everybody in the council is also in favor of curbside pickup. Makes it easier, more convenient, stuff like that.
People would be more apt to do it if they could just put it on the curb.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And we are, can I say something?
Yeah.
That we are actually doing it. My son says, I'm not gonna take those bags up there all, on Saturday all the time, and, it's all separated out. So we put it out in containers on our curb, and it's commingled, and they're picking it up. So we haven't been shot down yet, so.
Well, you take it up there, they take whatever's in the, it can be white glass, green glass, brown, and they take it and they go, and they
I've
separate
always
it out.
had to separate it
Separate
out,
it.
That's what the previous,
the previous administration.
there you go.
Okay, but we can still do it on our curb, just put it
Oh,
out.
sure, it helps them
The
out.
same way, yeah, that's true.
one of the other things that I think would be really important is that the recyclable containers would be larger than the waste containers. Psychologically, it says there should be more recycling than there should be waste. Right now, what's the $59 is equal size, waste and recyclable.
Oh,
What size container is that, Jan?
I don't know.
only that
Okay.
big?
Tub,
It's not
like a
huge.
smaller tub size?
Oh, what about those I see in the cities? They're about this tall, that wide, but in a square, and they got wheels on them and all that
Yes.
stuff?
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
but they're this high from the ground.
I know, I have an aunt that lives in Holman, and her recyclable barrel is huge, and her waste container is very little. And I think, the recyclables are picked up maybe once a month, but again, it would be motivation.
Right.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Comment?
And once we do get going, if we do get going in the recycling and in the schools, then maybe we could add a compost for the food, because that's a lot of food being thrown away. And they need to start young if they want to know about recycling.
Perfect, good idea.
At Stout, that campus is almost zero garbage. Everything is recycled. They have huge containers for compost, waste, and recycling. If you're ever up in that area, I would encourage you to take a look.
So that's Stout.
Stout.
Do they have a plan to clean your clean plate, so you don't have anything to throw away?
No, because that's counter to obesity.
Well, it depends on how much you take. But you don't
Call
want
the Catholic nuns with the yardstick.
Careful.
Careful.
Back out of here.
I may be a victim.
Oh, your knuckles.
Yeah, Bob, I'd stand
See how nice that hand is? See how nice that hand is?
Darlene.
Sister Agatha, 3rd grade.
What's wrong with
God
Michael?
rest her soul.
And yours.
Watch the plate. Right.
Yeah.
If there's nothing else, we'll move on. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good job, young lady.
Good ideas on
Good
that,
show.
composting with food.
You're up for city council, right?
Discussion and possible action on city hall roof maintenance. Bill?
Sure, so for some time now, we've had a leak back in the police department, right where the bathroom is and where the PD actually, connects to the main building here. We had, Simmons Roofing out there to take a look at, the connection between, well, took a look at the roof overall in the PD section, and we found that the water was running through where it's connected, the flashing is connecting to the brick on the main building here. You have some pictures in your packet. But the proposal from Simmons Roofing would be to replace that, the flash there, and then I do have for an amount of $3,500. I'll pass this around. There's some work that he's proposing to get cut, cutting a groove into the brick and then making sure that flashing gets connected tightly against that. Now there's some question about whether or not the metal roof on the PD section is still good. There's a concern that there might be some condensation in there and when it freezes, and the thawing action, the water coming down, may be causing a contributor to it too, but we're not certain at this point. The plan that he put forth was to fix the immediate issue along the brick and then check the humidity and the temperature in the colder months to see if it's condensing, if it's frosting underneath, and come back and replace the roof at a later time. But this quote is for just fixing the flash to stop the immediate issue of the water coming down the wall. We've had our 4 doors warped because of the water and had to purchase new doors to replace the current ones.
Do we have the money to take care of it?
It's a maintenance item, urgent issue. You have to look for the money out of somewhere.
Pull money out of somewhere.
Frisbee golf.
Frisbee golf.
Frisbee golf.
I think frisbee golf is more.
Doc, I'll help you find it.
Do you have any idea what?
Good, okay, the frisbee golf? Okay.
No,
Just wait,
the extra money.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Marlos.
Do you have any idea what the cost would be to repair the
To
roof?
replace the whole roof, about $7,500.
7,000, okay, and this was what?
3,500
This was
is what his bid is,
3,500.
3,500.
Would they put in a rubber roof then?
Well, the way that it's actually done is, so this used to be a flat roof, and it's rubber underneath there. And when they put the pitch roof on there, they threw insulation on top of the rubber roof. And so that rubber roof is starting to peel away from what's the brick. But in talking about that, it'd be costly to replace that rubber roof. It'd be more cost effective to fix what's on top of there, to stop the leak coming from the outside. As long as we fix the leak from the outside, everything else should be good.
Yeah, but that's half the cost of replacing the roof.
Well, the roof isn't in.
You'd have to do them both.
You'd have to do them both.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Because the 7,500 is just for redoing the metal on the roof.
Okay,
That's actually the connection, the flashing and all the holes that are.
okay, so this would have to be done first. All right,
And
thank
that's the
you.
labor too?
Correct. Any other questions?
So we just,
If not, I'll entertain a motion to
So moved.
approve. By Feltus, second by Slusher. Questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Fetch,
yes,
Feltus,
Yep.
Wojni,
Yes.
Mazak,
Yes.
Holston.
Yes.
Trying to help you out. I've had those days. Item 8C, discussion and possible approval of Dollar General site plan.
So moved.
Motion by Feltus, second by Fetch. Questions?
Where exactly is this?
right here.
That's
Where
my
is it?
question.
It's on the Rotary property. Okay,
Oh,
by the golf course. By the golf course.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Bill, you wanna give a brief?
I'll give you a brief.
Joe kinda knows this came to the planning commission, had
Oh, so this
multiple
isn't in
questions
the-
and approved it.
This
So-
is a different.
Yes,
Just
this
one
is-
second, Bill can give
This
you.
is on Kenny Wiltern's property, Kenny's with us today. Right along Highway 95 across from D&D Farm. Or
Edge Graphics.
Edge Graphic.
Yeah, I know.
So Dollar General came to us a couple months back proposing to put up a store in Arcadia. And since that time, they've done their due diligence, they've spoken with Mr. Wolfring, and have a closing date upcoming here. As part of their due diligence, they did meet, a challenge with the Department of Transportation in that along that section of road, there's a high amount of traffic. And so therefore, DOT was concerned about the traffic amount, that would be generated from this, including any kind of commercial development along that in the future. So the DOT looked to the city to come up with a plan, to propose for, local street access. And that's what you see in your site right now. That plan, that site plan would provide the opportunity for local street access, which would mean that instead of Dollar General being the applicant for the driveway permit, it would be the city. We are currently, working on a developer's agreement with Dollar General. They've verbally committed, to building the structure, the street extension, is the road extension that you see on the site plan, and also preserving that future right of way, to the city. Of note, we did speak with, the mobile home park, next door, and the owners, Roger and Ann Rickman are on board, for that driveway or that road extension, which would allow for them to enter through, that extension and then exit at their other entrance. They previously, contacted DOT for, permitting to, fix or repair their driveway, and I was told that they had some challenges there too. So, as far as I know, and speaking with the DOT, it seems like, any kind of increased traffic or development in that area will be, challenging if it includes increased, traffic amounts. So, if we're interested in any kind of development along that section, it would be best if we thought about local access and how that would look like. And what I'm talking about is from Simpson Street all the way down to, the intersection of 95 and 93. You will notice that on that drawing, on the north side there, on the top of the drawing, there's a two-way turn lane. And that's not existing currently. That's drawing that way at the request of Department of Transportation. It is their plan in the future that eventually that section of road get turned into a two-way turn, just like it is on 93. I don't know exactly when that will be, but I would suspect that it would be anytime before the intersection work there. And last I heard about the intersection work, that was moved out to 2025.
By intersection work, he means 93 and 95.
Correct.
Where the four-way is now, right?
Yep.
Rob, I have a question. I wasn't here the last time, and
Sure.
so people will come off of 95 into Dollar General and exit out to between the motel out onto Fairfield?
No.
No. This is just a site proposal for the site itself. There's no plans at this time to connect, or to construct, or do we have any of the things we need to have in place to build a road from there to Jefferson and Fairfield. Could that potentially be something on a plan in the future? It might be, but as far as this site proposal itself, it's only in respect to the property.
So the road, kind of, it's brush rock or dirt road now, those people would be contacted before a street would be put in there?
Yeah, I mean, if that's the plan in the future, we would have to make sure that we talk to all the property owners.
Okay.
Basically, what we're doing at this point, Bob, is reserving the right that if it were to happen, we would have that right from a future property owner.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're
Have
just
it
setting
done.
this property
And
up
they've-
for it.
They've agreed.
I have no problem with that, I'm
They've
just
agreed on
transportation
the
in
right
and
of
out.
way dedication. Basically, by looking at this, if you know where those utilities are, if you've been up there, there's between the trailer park and Ken's property is where the entrance exit would be to Dollar General. They would come in and then they would enter into the actual Dollar General to the looking west. They wouldn't, you wouldn't drive straight into the
The road
driveway.
extension that you see on your map right now is a temporary dead end. So it would, the only properties that it would currently service would be the proposed Dollar General site, and also would be the Wine mobile home park. Until city decides to move forward and construct that road. And whether that gets built now or a decade later, I can't predict that, and we can't necessarily tie future councils to that at this point. But the opportunity to obtain at least the right of way is present.
The reason I'm asking questions is because that's in my jurisdiction.
Yep.
So that's, if people come to me with questions, I can hopefully have an answer for them, or I'll send them to you.
At this point, there's
Nothing
no
more.
plans
Okay.
of that.
So that's an in and out right now, I mean, the idea,
Right.
the same driveway.
Correct.
Yeah, it would be an opportunity to provide them what's considered local access. So not necessarily a driveway on 95, which DOT has a hard time doing, but to get traffic off of 95 before they turn into what would be the proposed site or the right-of-way site.
While we got him here, if we do decide this in the future, is there enough land there to come off of 95 and make a turn lane on your property to get to that business?
I think they plan on a turn lane in there.
Okay, then that's okay.
That road is wide enough,
The
how it
road-
currently is.
The road is wide enough for the two-way turn lane
Okay.
as it is.
Okay.
Now, it's built into the proposal that there be a taper, that, there be some relief when you turn in, but there's not necessarily a dedicated right turn lane at this time.
I'll have to look at that.
In the future, Bill, if this public roadway extension would continue on, what street would it meet up with?
Jefferson,
Jefferson,
it would
okay.
kinda come,
Behind the motel.
Right between the motels.
this is the motel.
Between the motel
It
and
would
Jane
come back
Levenberg.
here to here and then out. So it really continue Jefferson behind the motel,
Straight out.
straight out to here, and then this is the mobile home park, and this is the intersection that we're talking about right
Okay. That helps me knowing where it could eventually
Right.
lead.
What about water, what do you call it, runoff, yeah, water and sewer type situations, what that does, you take,
Water, there's currently water and I believe sewer to this current property. The plan would be to gravity feed the sewer onto Main Street, so. And I believe that's the system that's currently there, is that correct, Kenny?
Correct.
Okay, so then that would be the same going over to the commercial side. Obviously, they upgrade the size of the pipe, for whatever size they need.
it's coming off of parking lots and all that, so there's gonna be a lot of water versus
Oh,
going.
you're talking about stormwater?
He's talking about
Stormwater,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
talking about stormwater.
Okay,
yeah.
so stormwater, there they have a local stormwater retainage, pond.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, cause otherwise it would drain, pretty much to Melvin Bolsey's property. But the plan is to keep it local.
Ken, do you have anything to add?
No, I just wanted to see what the process was here. We don't have, they have a deadline at the end of this month, but I just wanted to see if that falls through, what the council was thinking with this road business and stuff, cause if my sale doesn't go through, I'm staying there. And that's the only reason I came down today, was just to see what you guys is.
I think if it falls through, Ken, I wouldn't say we would change any road access up there at all.
Yeah, just to reiterate that, so the opportunity is existing with this development. Should the development go away, then we wouldn't move forward with the road.
There's no other, go
Just
ahead.
one question, this is Dollar General, what's the one over here called?
Family Dollar.
Family Dollar,
That's another dollar, huh?
yeah.
The one that's coming is gonna be like the one in Galesville and Whitehall.
Okay.
This might be $2 instead of $1.
Yeah, I just
Doc.
can't keep track of all this stuff.
Well, Galesville has 2 L's, Whitehall has 2 L's, it's a dollar. Dollar, 2 L's, 2 L's.
Okay, that's a good way to think
There
of
you
it.
go.
Any other questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Fetch,
Yes.
Feltes,
Yep.
Wojni,
Abstain.
Mason,
Yes.
Holsted,
Yes.
Slusher.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 8D, approval of merit assigned acceptance of award acknowledgement for well number 7 community development block grant.
So moved.
Motion by Feltes, is there a second? By Fetch.
So this is part of the process to accept the award
Thanks, Captain.
for the community
Thank you for
development block grant.
Thanks for the turn.
Yeah.
There's a
That's
number of
good, thank you.
documents that Angela and I are still gathering to turn in with this. But we wanted to make sure, there's a 30-day timeline on this, and we wanna make sure that we get go ahead from this table to respond.
Questions? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Feltes,
Yes.
Wojni.
Yes.
Mason.
Yes.
Holsted.
Yes.
Slusher.
Yes.
Fetch.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 8E, discussion regarding the creation of a community development authority.
So moved.
Motion by Fetch, is there a second?
Actually,
Second.
Motion by Feltes, second by
She was
Fetch.
first, yeah.
Sorry,
I
I
was a
heard,
little slow, I just waiting.
maybe it's my ears that are a little slow.
So,
Bill, you wanna give a brief on something?
sure,
some of
yeah.
this?
So a community development authority is actually a separate political body, which is created to deal with the purpose of dealing with blight elimination, slum clearance, urban renewal programs and projects, and housing projects. Would have to be created by ordinance or resolution. It's 2 council members and 5 community members from the city of Arcadia. By creating an authority, the authority does have special powers provided by statute. They could engage in real estate transactions, lease, bond, issue loans and grants, and have some planning responsibilities. So, you know, they're associated with the council, but do have some authority of their own to deal with these items. Now, currently, we do have a few committees that deal with some of these issues, one being the Housing and Building Standards Committee, and then the other being the Economic Development Committee. And my recommendation would be to roll all of that into the Community Development Authority and have the authority oversee those issues, so housing maintenance and economic development. The language, and there's a memo in your packet from 2014. Go ahead and read through that. Today's just a discussion, but if it is if it is something of interest, we can bring a resolution forward and a plan of action.
Comment here, I see, this committee, that what do you call the committee?
It'd be an
Authority, does not have taxing authority?
It does not.
Does not, but it does have something about, selling, the authority function may issue and sell general obligation bonds. That's
Right.
almost like a tax, I mean, that's, you.
Well, you would, the way that authorities usually do it is through lease revenue bonds.
Lease.
Right, so for example, if there was a piece of property in town that was blighted, and the authority bonded or borrowed to purchase that and built a development or structure on that, they could then lease that to a third party and pay back that loan through the lease, of the payments from that lease.
From whoever is going to be using
Using.
this property.
Correct, correct.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's just one of their capabilities, and so, usually in other communities, they use the community development authority for housing, again, slum and blight clearance. And they also have the authority to condemn, homes, according to statute, if it's designated by the council.
To develop industrial, property too, or?
Yeah, I mean, all of that falls within the jurisdiction. You know, real estate transactions, they could, you know, I've seen it used where, they become, kind of the trustees on the property. I've seen that used in Minnesota, I don't know, I haven't seen it used in Wisconsin, but, there's other opportunities with an authority that, say, a committee wouldn't be able to do.
So, for like development, residential areas too, this type of thing, that would be,
Could do that as well.
you can get money to do that.
Right, right, and so there's a couple of ways that you could fund an authority. I mean, the council could decide to fund it through general obligation, bonding, but then that would come off the tax rolls from the city side.
Oh, then that would come out of there.
Correct, correct. So there's a couple ways of doing it. Obviously, as an authority, you could, you know, that body of organization could apply for grants, could apply for loans. In turn, could then release grants, and loans out to the community. And you know, where a community development authority comes in handy is that they would then specialize on it, on those issues. Whereas, you know, the council, we've done, it seems to me that we've done some of that in the past, but, you know, to be able to allow this body to concentrate on that while the council concentrate on other matters, like frisbee ball.
Very important. Thank you.
So really, this is information, read it over, questions, comments, contact Bill. If there's no other questions, now we can move on.
Yeah, well, what we'll do is we'll prepare a resolution and bring it to council next time. And then we'll do that. If there are any questions, shoot them over to me so I can get them answered before the next meeting. But, you know, I think it's an opportunity to utilize the powers that be that are in the statute, to benefit the community.
So there's no urgent need, this
There's
is
no
just a
Or no urgent action.
soon need. Okay.
Item 8F, approval of staff to solicit requests for proposals for IT services and fuel purchases.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mazak, second by Fetch. Questions? This is something we did last year and we'll continue to do again this year. I think the fuel purchases saved us quite a lot of money. And I don't believe Quick Trip submitted a bid last year, so it'll be interesting to see what they did this year. Correct?
Well, in talking with Quick Trip and Express Mart after the process, Express Mart, I don't know, there was a paperwork issue with them saying they didn't get it, and then Quick Trip, they were in the process of moving and didn't submit a bid. So I expect them both to submit a bid this year along with Holiday, so that's good for the city.
And, your computers,
Computers will be placed out just
Yeah,
like it was previously. I think we have multiple applicants as well.
right.
So motion and a second, any other discussion? Hearing on the clerk will call the roll.
Forsley,
Yes.
Mazik,
Yes.
Holsted.
Yes.
Slusher.
Yes.
Fetch.
Yes.
Feltes.
Absolutely.
Motion carries. Item 8G, approval of change order number 4, Haas Sons Incorporated and the Myers Valley Creek project.
So moved.
Motion by Fetch, is there a second? Is there a second? Is there a second? Motion dies in regards to no second. Bill, do you wanna give just a brief description, just to bring everybody up to speed?
So the change order here, is for the repairs to Myers Valley Creek after the flood. And that is an estimate of approximately $95,000, which includes, restoration to the fish habitat. It also includes riprapping, majority of the meanders, or what's left of the meanders, clearing some of the vegetation that's downstream, and doing work to meet the permit, that's provided by DNR. So some of this work does include the riprap that was put in immediately right after, that was put in right after, the flood, and which was contested by the council. We don't know what portion, exactly it was that Haas went ahead and worked, with, or put in. I did submit, an email to Davie Engineering in regards to the feelings of, the council and the disappointment in contesting that amount. And we did receive a response back from Mike Davie, pretty much stating that the banks need to be stabilized. I can pass that around here. Number 3 there. And that the work would have had to been done anyways. The pricing that we got from Haas, there is a mobilization, cost to it because they're not in the community, anymore. I know that they've left at least the McKinley project, and, since then have finished up on the punch list items for the Myers Valley Creek. I don't believe they're even out there anymore for the Ashley Phase 9 project. There is a reminder that there was a motion and carried, to, at least reserve $125,000, for the Myers Valley Creek project at the last meeting. That's all I got.
So it was Haas that went ahead and did this,
With the direction from Davie Engineering.
but nothing, no okay from the city?
Correct.
So that might maybe pay for it. You authorized it.
Right, and what did, like, Davie charge us for authorizing him?
But by not bringing this up or passing this, we can't even discuss this, can we?
Discussing
The motion, because the motion was not seconded.
Somebody else could make the motion to deny the payment, and it could be discussed, yes.
Okay, but right now, you're just telling us what, why and what for here.
Correct.
Right.
So, what's in this thing about FEMA, I mean, it says may come up with 75%, be covered by FEMA, so by.
Yeah, we submitted, the cost estimates as provided, for Myers Valley Creek, for Turning Creek repairs, and for Oak Street to FEMA. They were in town last Thursday, or Wednesday, and we did review, those costs. It's gonna take approximately, I wanna say, 2 weeks for them to make a decision on whether or not the costs qualify. and then another, say, 2 weeks for the presidential declaration, if we meet that threshold. So that's where we are with FEMA.
So if we were to pay this bill, $95,890, and the last meeting the council approved keeping $125,000 out to fix Myers Valley Creek, that only leaves us $30,000 left for any future repairs, correct?
No. So, the previous estimate, before the work order, or before the change order was, Mike Davy gave us an estimate of $125,000, which included engineering and included construction of the repair work. That was a ballpark guess, and that's the number that we submitted to FEMA. That was approved by the council.
So this 95 obviously
So
doesn't
then-
include any
The 90,
engineering, so.
yeah, the
it's gonna be
95
another
does not
15 or
include any of the
20,000.
engineering. And I think the engineering is still gonna come in at around 25,000. That's what was in previously, because they estimated the construction to be at about $100,000.
So, by not,
The original motion was to approve the payment,
The change
No, the
order.
change order.
excuse me, the
Change
change
order.
order, the change order, the amount of $95,890.
so we could have, if we would have had the motion, we could have said by voting and voting no, right? If we
Correct.
didn't-
I mean, somebody could make a motion to deny payment,
to
but deny the change order.
So if we needed to come up with, are we gonna have to come up with some money to do something here in the future?
But I think the biggest thing is, nobody's arguing the fact that the work was done. I think that the argument is who approved the work without authorizing somebody to do work at a payment that was not authorized by the city. That's the argument.
Yeah.
Nobody's
That's the-
arguing
That's the
that
bonus.
the work isn't done, right?
Actually, there's a couple things to consider here. So one is the change order, which is the work that needs to be done to repair the creek,
Which was done.
which was partially done.
Okay.
So what's left to do?
What's left to do is the fish habitat. There's more riprap to do. There's some erosion control measures that need to be done. And there's some clearing and grubbing of the vegetation downstream that needs to be done. All of those items were changed in the DNR permit. The DNR permit previously required that we have more natural fish habitat, meanders. There's some scour holes that need to be cleaned up. There are these rock veins that need to be repaired so that there will be turbulence in the creek. But all of that is in the change order, the work that needs to be done. The explanation is in there. My understanding of the work that was authorized by Davy and not authorized by council was the riprap that was upstream, which would be upstream of the meanders, downstream of the turn from the Shank property, which was damaged, obviously, from the flooding.
To me, the bigger fish here is, they know where the creek is. They've looked at that creek how many years? How can it cost $25,000 for engineering when the creek is the same place? How? How justify that to me?
Well, I don't work for Davy, so, I can tell you that there was a lot of going back and forth. There was a lot of going back and forth with Davy, the city, and also the DNR to change the DNR permit.
We gotta tighten the leash.
Because DNR did want us originally to go back and put in the original meanders, the original rock veins, the original root wads, which if we would've went and put them in and would've flooded again, would've got washed out.
Again.
The features that we have now in the change order are more resilient to flooding.
Is there any way for us to get a breakdown of what was done before before
Yeah.
authorization from
Yeah.
Navy?
I can,
And that should include the work done and the engineering charge for that.
But these
Well,
people
Well,
are,
the thing that I don't understand is, it couldn't have been engineered. Because the flood happened on Thursday and they were in there on Friday afternoon fixing it. What can you engineer in less than 24
Well,
hours?
I don't know if they're charging us for that, but.
Well,
these are experienced contractors, they can say, hey, there's a big washout, maybe we should bring some rock here. Why do they have to go down and pay, unacceptable.
I'll keep my opinion to myself.
Okay. You want me to too?
No.
Okay.
But there's a process here, it sounds like there's a process.
Yeah, well, in the, so, like I said, I think there's three things to consider here. One is the change order in itself. Two would be the payment, for whatever the repairs are. And then three, the discontent with DBA. And, you know, finding a price or finding what that cost is. That they all.
Well, this is for 95,000 for them, didn't get a second, so it should die right here. Correct?
Correct.
So why would, let's,
Well, I'm just gonna go, so everybody's on the same page, can put their grievances out there. So if we have to go back and answer to Haas or to Davey why it got denied, we know what to say about it. That's
okay, yeah, okay.
I mean, my feeling is what I'm getting out of this is it's not a Haas issue, they were instructed to do something, they went and did it. Is that what I get?
Well, and
But we don't, I mean, is that what I'm hearing?
But there is no approval.
This table
Not by
didn't
us,
authorize
right.
them to do it, it came from some other place.
Right. That's what we're saying, I'm saying, we did not authorize them to do it.
It should
Right.
be,
We're not saying the work didn't get done by them, it's not properly done,
or it shouldn't have been done.
or it shouldn't have
It
been
had to
done.
be done.
Right.
Well, I think the question is, what right did,
Somebody.
A third
Davy
party.
Engineering have to send them in without somehow going through the city? So, maybe the problem goes back to Davy Engineering.
And then I want you to also consider moving forward, you know, if the change order is not approved and if you wanna go a different direction than Davy, you know, we still have to fulfill the permit that was signed with the DNR.
Cause we're required by the permit to do certain
Right.
stuff, and I
Oh,
think we're all in agreement, I think we all know, we're all on the same page.
We need to do the work, it's just, we weren't notified that somebody else was doing it, that's the problem.
Yeah. Is there anyone else, another engineering firm that we could contact to at least get bids or whatever, that everything goes down to his office automatically?
Sure.
Okay, let's look into that too.
But they're still in an emergency situation like this would, it has to happen like, fairly quickly.
It's amazing, they got these things, they're called.
You know, Doc, it's a couple minutes and the phone calls can be
That's
made.
what I mean,
Yeah.
you've gotta have a
If Rob would've said,
Yeah,
go ahead and fix it, I wouldn't have a problem with this,
Right.
you know.
yeah. But there's gotta be a way, or a channel that this gets done and done right. Instead of somebody,
Bill, do you have enough information to go back to Davey?
Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is ask them for a breakdown of what exactly was done, and then from there, ask them exactly what the charges are for the $25,000 in engineering. I think that the construction cost of $95,000 for the change order, we could probably review that, because, you know, those are not Davies costs, those are Haas costs. So we could technically contact Haas and find out what the numbers are, whether or not those numbers are true. And then from there, reassess whether or not the council wants to move forward with the change order. And then if there's an argument to be made about who's gonna pay for the unauthorized work, I think that should get dealt, on a separate matter.
Separately then?
Correct, because what I don't want, What I don't want to do is bunch them together and then have Haas walk away from the prices that we have, and then have to bid the work, have to get, you know, go through the whole process again, which could drive up costs.
But then Davey will know that he brings it here before he authorizes it. That's what we're after. I think that's the gist of what we're trying to determine here, correct?
So if the discontent is with Davy Engineering, and the feeling is to look at other engineering firms, council just needs to make that message clear with Davy.
That's the feeling I get here.
Exactly.
The issue is not so much with Haas as it is with Davey.
Yep.
Right.
Too bad.
Alright, we'll move on. Item 8H, authorization to set up a non-interest bearing account for goal number 7, CDBG grant funding.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Feltus, second by Mazak. Questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Mazak.
Yes.
Holsted.
Yes.
Slusher.
Yes.
Betch.
Yes.
Feltus.
Yep.
Wojni.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 8I, discussion and possible action on bidding out railroad bridge sediment removal.
So moved.
Motion by Feltus,
Second.
second by Fetch. Everybody knows where this is and what it's in regards to?
Yeah, I do. Why are we doing this? Why don't we get after the railroad? This is what's really upsetting
Good
because.
luck. Yeah.
I know.
We could surely send them a letter.
Yeah,
You know what they're gonna tell you.
oh yeah, I know, but the thing is, hey, Little Mouse that roared, the thing is, this is what's causing our problems down there, I would think, I know maybe.
We can surely send them something. Either way, it has to be done. And I have a feeling they're gonna say a lot of that stuff that's getting caught there is not theirs.
Caught there, but it's the railroad bridge that's too low that's
Right.
causing it to be caught. So, that's kind of, obvious to me.
Would it help if everybody sitting at the table signed it instead of just the mayor? Or would that help or not? I'm questioning.
That's a great question, Bob.
You can
Can't hurt.
definitely sign the letter.
Yeah, let the more voices we have, I mean,
I mean,
Well, I guess the first question would be, you know, what's the what's the solution there? Is, if we're writing a letter to the rail, what is it that we're proposing to the rail?
dynamite.
yeah, well, okay, the bridge is too low, make it higher.
Well, part of
Well-
the problem is they'll only go up at a certain percent. And if the train is stopped here in town,
Yeah.
how far back do they have to go down to get it to even raise
Correct, I understand.
2 inches
I
out
understand.
there?
But what's that gonna do to our intersection right out here?
Well, you have to raise the intersection.
Oh, yeah. So you'd almost have to have a bridge.
And
But
if you
maybe-
raise the intersection, then you're raising the rest of the,
Track,
and our roads.
yeah. Well, maybe we could get everything raised out of the floodplain
Well,
by the railroad, you know? That's ridiculous, but anyways,
I'm glad you said it, Doc.
But anyways, my idea is if you go after these guys, maybe they would say, hey, when we could do this and this and this. You know, instead of digging it out all the time and spending a lot of money and then it sediments back in again, it's gonna clog up again. Cause we just had, when was it, 2 years ago, we had this thing dug out?
The permit is good until the end of March of 18.
That we already, from who did, you know?
The only problem I see is, if you remember, maybe Joe, you were the only one on here when we dug it out.
No.
They wanted
No.
like,
Oh, we were here.
We were all here.
Okay. they wanted like $4,000 for flagman and all that, but we got lucky because they were working on that bridge, so there was no trains going through. And that was just by a stroke
I do remember
of
that.
God that, you know, that happened, that it saved us some money, but if I remember right, I think the bill from the contractor was like $9,000, is that right, Bill? You remember that, or?
No.
10,000, it was Hesha did, right, or what?
It was actually,
But the point is can't we say to these, people, well, we gotta dig this out every so often, because we got sediment coming down, the bridge is too slow, or too low, that, hey, is there some way that you could help us out, or you could do something to that bridge so we don't have to do this?
And maybe we'd stop for their tracks washing too, you know.
I do
Once
wanna,
that backs up.
It's gotta flow over somewhere.
Yeah, I think that, the approach of asking for assistance from the city to dig out the sediment might be an easier sell. I do wanna say that the discussion of potentially raising the bridge, a long-term fix for that whole area, was something that the Corps is currently looking into as part of the levy project.
Okay.
It's great to, when going to talk with the rail to have the Corps on your side. But no, we can definitely send a letter, we just have to find out, how far up the chain we have to go to get some kind of response.
Well, just discussing with them that, hey, this is what's happening and,
Well, put a spin on it, not to interrupt you, but put a spin on it that, like Joe said, this is also affecting
this is.
your business and your money.
And this and this and this, I mean, so it kind of,
I mean, they lost 400 feet of track, I believe, to the north.
That bridge can go up a long ways before it's out of their spec though. Like just shy of 3 feet.
is that what it would be good to,
Well, the higher the better.
oh yeah,
33 inches is where it can go up.
by who's back or by the railroad or?
I found out a couple years ago what they allow. They went and shot it all.
Okay. And you wouldn't have to raise it down here to do
Because if
that?
you look up these tracks, it's 1,492 feet from that sidewalk to that bridge. And all the height on it right now is in the last 400 feet. So if they do a gradual right from the other side of Main Street,
Hmm?
all the way up.
That would help a bunch.
A lot of rock.
Yeah, it's all in rock.
But what is the damage to our community?
Well, we can surely send a letter, but obviously we need to do something in the meantime
Sure.
to get it cleaned out, because there's a lot of wood and everything else down there the last time I was there.
They'll be down there tomorrow to pull the wood out. They did it once, but
The railroad?
I can maybe call today.
So what do we need to do now? I guess authorize. go
Well,
ahead.
there's a motion on the floor to
Pass.
bidding out the railroad sediment removal.
Yeah, good idea.
So,
What would be really nice would be if the water department had a backhoe that you could actually track down there, and we could do it ourselves, because we've got the trucks and the loaders.
How about renting one?
I don't know what that costs, I have no idea.
We know how to run them?
sure.
Of course.
It's like
Call,
riding a bike.
call Cat Rental, find out.
I mean, it would take us, you
Well,
know,
we
Ash
could
had 3 trucks and 2. It'd take us probably a better part of a week, but nothing say we gotta do it all at one time.
We have to get the flaggers,
Then it'd be
Well,
done.
that's the bad part.
yeah, hire out the flaggers, cause they probably have certain companies that do that
Unless we could talk to them
and coordinate.
and see if they would dig out to where their right of way is.
Oh, sorry, the railroad
So
itself.
I'll let you two work on that.
Yeah. So,
Thanks. No, that's okay.
I know I'm
Lawnmower
right,
season's
but
almost
I
done,
can't-
right?
I can't
Well,
drive
we've
back.
we're dealing a little bit with them on another issue here in town too, so we got connections now, so.
I was quite curious what it would cost for you to rent the machine and do it ourselves versus, but
Maybe
we
you
should
have all
also,
winter, it's no big deal.
we should also let the local contractor put a bid on it and
Yep. So there's a motion and a second to just put it out to bid, and if we decide we wanna do it internally, we surely can.
yeah,
The only thing that goes along with that is where do you take it?
with sand, can we give it to somebody?
doesn't John Weimer have a ditch he's filling in?
They're really fussy about that nowadays.
Does
He
Hesh-
got turned in out there, so we haven't done nothing by him for years.
Does Hesh need some fill?
Yeah, well, you're gonna ask him to bid it and then tell him, no, we're gonna do it ourselves, but we wanna hold
Yeah.
the bill.
Where did that bill come from? Right up the stream there. Most of that stuff.
You guys can work
From
it
right
out.
down the stream, probably.
But you probably gotta get a permit for that.
Just one suggestion real quick was that area between River Street and Main Street, that's always continuously wet, some of that material could go there. Just enough to make a slope from the river up to Family Dollar, just to get rid of some of it. And then you'd have to have a small cap there to level it off, and that way when the water would come up, it'd come in there, when it'd go down and run out.
Put it right along the diking.
I saw that.
Does, hey Raleigh, do you know if that permit
No.
covers where you?
How about, no, I think that has to be, if
Where
you're
you
gonna build
take
it up, has to go
There's
out
the-
so
there's the
far.
issue there.
Yeah, but
I
that's
can bring
that corner
permit
in
down
Deer
so
Park.
we
Yeah.
can look at it.
Yeah.
Could you put it on the other side of the deer park in that corner?
You put it on the south side. Basically, you're coming, if your dike is here, you're gonna bring it more out this way, on the south side, just
Into the park.
into the park.
Well, that would be on the north side, wouldn't it?
No, it'd be on the south side.
South side.
South side of the dike. Basically, all you're doing is reinforcing the corner.
Where the park
By
is.
the
Well, they're a
playground.
little fussy about where you take of stuff, so
Yeah,
that'd be an issue, we'd have to talk to them.
We gotta find out whether or not the permit that we have allows you to take fill certain places.
I
And
know
how-
it does.
And how much fill, because if it gets over an amount, you know, does that mean that you have to get a different permit?
Give it to the DNR.
I got the permit, I'll bring it down, Bill and I'll look through it.
All
We'll go
right,
from
sounds
there.
good. Clerk will call the roll.
Give it to the DNR.
Holstead,
Yes.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Yes.
Fetch,
Oh, yes.
Scott Walker.
Feltes.
Yep.
Wojni.
Yes.
Mezek.
Yes.
Motion carried. Item 8J, possible appointment of deputy treasurer position.
Our new hire for utility billing started today. She is Carla Johnson's replacement. One role that Carla has served over the years has been kind of to be the backup deputy treasurer for me in my absence. We need someone to fill that role. Amelia Bergerson, she goes by Amy, has served the treasurer role in the village of Northfield, town of Northfield, in Trumbull County. She had that for about 8 years, so she's very qualified. But it's something that we should have in the minutes, and have it in a formalized motion.
So moved.
Whoa, not even.
That was close. Once again, so moved.
Motion by Fetch, second. Is there a second?
Sure.
By Slusher.
Sorry about that.
Any questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Slusher,
Yes.
Fetch.
Yes.
Feltes,
Yeah.
Wojni.
Yes.
Mezek.
Yes.
Holstead.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 9A, approval of bills of general account, the amount of $182,210.06.
So moved.
Sorry.
Motion by Feltus, second by Fetch. Questions?
I did notice that, gas was purchased at the Quick Trip again, rather than through Holiday. And it is my understanding that the Express Mart bill was during the flood, which I totally understand. Is that correct? That was during the flood?
I think it was for pumps and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Just
which-
getting stuff where,
Of course, yeah, I mean, I truly understand that, but the Quick Trip one, 8115, I'm wondering why that was purchased there instead of at Holiday.
Raleigh, do you have a good answer for that?
Yep, I'm gonna give you the long version too.
All right. You got 30 seconds.
Just before the flood, everyone knows that we got the swimming pool thrown on us. And Glenn's been doing a hell of a job at that, but he didn't wanna do it on the weekends. So I've been doing it on the weekends, and we had catch basins fall in, and we had washouts, and the week after the flood, we were really busy with that. And then I had people hollering about mud on the street. So that Sunday, after I went to the pool, I went up and I put our water truck on that lift truck, and it was almost out of fuel, almost out of DEF fluid. Holiday does not sell DEF fluid. So I went to Quick Trip to fill it with DEF, and I thought, to save time, I threw whatever I needed to fill up the truck, so it was ready to go Monday morning. I turned the guys loose Monday morning, and I went washing streets.
Yes, for this what?
Two of our trucks got a special stuff you gotta put in them.
Spring
All the new
machines.
trucks got that. So that was the reason that I did that,
Okay.
so just to save time, I didn't wanna pull in and fill that with Def and then run over to Holiday.
Time is money.
Well,
Right.
no, I understand, I was just
Right.
wondering.
I wish Holiday had Def, but they do not, so. I mean, typically I keep some jugs in the shop, just so happened we must have filled the garbage truck. Cause we fill the garbage truck with Def out of the jugs. We must have filled it, the jugs were empty, so I just went over there, filled everything up, so I was ready to go Monday morning.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Any other questions?
Yeah. The fuel we pumped on for the flood, is that possibly FEMA reimbursable?
It's on the list.
Okay.
We put, I think we put everything we could on the list.
Good.
Kudos to Dylan and Angela.
Bigger the
Putting
total,
things
bigger
in
the
the
total, the better you are.
That's off the record.
Bigger
You
than
didn't hear that, right?
When are we gonna hear about FEMA? I mean,
September.
September.
Any other questions?
No.
Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Fett.
Yes.
Feltes.
Yep.
Wojni.
Yes.
Mezek.
Yes.
Olsted.
Yes.
Flusher.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 9B, pay request number 3 for McKinley and Maple Street, Haas Sons Incorporated, $95,247.95.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by
That's the
Feltes,
same
second by
amount,
Mazak.
That's the same amount as another thing we were talking about.
No, just close.
It's real
Oh,
close.
just,
It was 95 something.
okay.
95.6.
Did we ever get pavement on that street? I haven't been over it.
Yes.
There's a first layer of asphalt.
Oh, there is, huh?
They'll be pouring concrete and paving tomorrow, hopefully.
They paved
That's
it,
supposed to be
they
nice.
paved it the Thursday before Ashley for the arts.
That's
The
what
first layer.
And we left town.
They were pouring sidewalks and driveways today. It's coming along.
Any other questions? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Feltes.
Yep.
Wojni.
Yes.
Mezek.
Yes.
Olsted.
Yes.
Flusher.
Yes.
Fett.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 9C is the general fund revenue and expenditure report. If there's any questions, feel free to contact Angela. It's your convenience. Number 10A, discussion and possible action on operator licenses.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Feltes, second by Mazak. Questions? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Wojni.
Yes.
Mezek.
Yes.
Olsted.
Yes.
Flusher.
Yes.
Fett.
Yes.
Feltes.
Motion carries. Item 10B, picnic permits, Holy
moved.
Family
Second.
Catholic Church by Mazak, second by Oop.
Jim.
Fetch.
Him.
Any questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Mezek.
Yes.
Olsted.
Yes.
Flusher.
Yes.
Fett.
Yes.
Feltes.
Yep.
Wojni.
Yes.
Motion carries. Future agenda items. Mr. Slasher. Nothing. Mr. Fetch.
I already expressed an interest in frisbee golf
All right.
again.
Anything else?
Unknown that at this moment,
Alright.
just some of the past agenda items.
For future consideration for the budget, put in to do a couple hundred feet of, I think it was 300 feet, is almost like $500,000 or $250,000 of sheet piling. And we should just, whether we do the sheet piling or not, we should start budgeting for it.
Or
Explain the sheet piling.
Chunks of steel, they're driven down like this, deep into the ground.
Okay.
It's a flood barrier wall.
And the water is going down here.
It bounces off and comes back.
Okay, sure. That's what you call that.
Yeah.
Where, just where it would be needed, huh?
Well, I think the main concern, I think where Joe's talking about would be west of Oak Street.
Yep.
West.
Where the water overtopped the dike. Behind the Conrad
I was
residence.
just gonna say by Raleigh's mom there.
I just wanna quickly reference the numbers that we got back initially from Army Corps. With their surveys after the flood, they're saying that the volume of water that comes down Turning Creek is about 5,300 cubic feet per second. So that bridge only allows 2,500 cubic feet per second near that bridge. That means there's 3,000 cubic feet more than the capacity of that bridge coming over that road. Just saying.
A lot of water.
A lot of water.
But my purpose is, we need to budget for it so that eventually someday we're gonna do this.
Somewhere along the line. But the Corps might do something that might include that or do something different, perhaps.
Perhaps.
But I understand, yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Anything else, Joe?
No.
Mr. Wojni?
I had something written down at home, I'll have to talk to
You
you.
can give me a holler, or give Bill a holler, and get it.
I'll step up, Bill.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session. Second by Mazak, second by Slusher. Clerk will call the roll.
Hey, he didn't even say a word.
Olsted. Yes.
When we
Slusher.
say
Yes.
together, it
Yes.
sounds that way.
Yes.
Feltes.
Yeah.
Wojni.
Yes.
Have a good evening.
You too.
0.
We're in closed session. I'll entertain we'll go on to item 14. I'll entertain a motion to hire Mr. Kurt Deveroy.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Feltus, second by Mazak. As a full-time, police officer. Did Angela take off?
Oh, she's still there, I'll take notes.
Roll call?
Yes.
Anna Slusher,
Yes.
Todd
Yes.
Fetch, Joe Feltes.
Yep.
Bob Wozny.
Yes.
Kevin Mazak.
Yes.
Morales Colstead.
And that work is to start as soon as possible,
Yep.
or at his
He's
convenience or
working with,
whatever.
yeah, he's,
Schedule-wise.
yeah,
Okay.
he's working to get off some shifts,
Okay.
to my knowledge.
Okay.
As soon as we can bring him on, the better.
Mhm.
Upcoming meetings, reschedule the September 1st meeting, which was due on Labor Day. I'm gonna do it September 7th at 4:30.
4:30, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that okay?
No, that's fine with me.
Love it. I love it.
Thank you.
It will be here.
Okay.
You like the early ones.
Oh, that's
4:30.
fine with me, yeah.
3:30.
I can't make 3:30.
The city council meeting on Monday, Monday, September 18th.
At 4:30?
No.
No.
That's a regular one.
Yeah, if possible, can we move that back? I'm gonna be traveling that day unless I'm not here and Joe wants to run the meeting without me. It's completely fine. I'm gonna be coming back from Charlotte that day and I think my flight lands at 3 in Minneapolis.
Ooh, you'd be
So I'll be really close.
Well, even
If we do it at
5:30 was
5:30,
tight.
if we could move it to 6:30, I should be able to be here, no problem.
Works for me.
But I just wanna say, I'm going to be traveling that day and we all know how airlines work. I mean,
Just so-
I'm hoping to be back here.
Let us know what time the meeting is.
I think we'll try for 6:30.
Okay, I'll
Not
put
here.
6:30 a question mark.
Yeah, I won't be here. I'm gonna be.
I'm not gonna get here by 5:30,
Gain an hour one and lose an hour on another.
so I apologize.
That's okay.
You just heard, I won't be here.
But it's still a
You won't be
5:30
here.
average.
Oh.
Yeah, it works out at the
It's
end.
a 5:30
That's
average.
the
so
Vikings
that's-
played on Monday night or what? Is that why?
I don't know.
America's team.
The Packers?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Mazak, second by Feltus. Bill, you wanna call the roll?
That the Cubs or what?
Slusher.
Yes.
Yes.
Fetch.
What are we doing?
Feltes.
Yep.
Wozny.
Adjourn.
Yes.
Bob.
Yes.
Mazak.
Yeah.
Colstead.
Yes.